Robert Hopkins and Tony Rees. Well, set of boxing in our live heavyweight fight from Copenhagen, Joe Bugner versus the unbeaten Norwegian Steffen Tangstad, and most of his successes have happened actually in Chicago in the United States. Now, there are doubts in many minds that Bugner can go on much longer. His sights are set on the European title. He's determined to sustain this comeback, but could it end today? Let's have a look now at the men's statistics. Well, Bugner is giving away 9 years to the young Scandinavian. He is 2 inches taller. He enjoys a 4-inch reach advantage and outweighs him by 2 stones, 3 pounds. Bugner's career has spanned 69 fights. He's won 59 of them, 38 inside the distance, lost 9 and drawn 1. Whereas Tangstad has only had 19 contests, winning 17, 12 of them by knockouts, and the other 2 fights were drawn. Well, at ringside in the sports hall in Copenhagen, the former world champion Jim Watt, and leading the partnership our commentator Reg Guthridge, but the fighters are already gloved up in the ring, so let's hear now from the master of ceremonies.
So there he is, Morgan Hulman.
I can tell you in the blue corner from England, 234 pounds, fighting for the first time in 10 years in Copenhagen, 3 times European champion and former world heavyweight title contender, Joe Bugner! Ladies and gentlemen, in the red corner from Norway, 204 pounds.
There you are then, trimmed down Bugner, 16 stone 11. He was 18 stone, remember, when he struggled a bit against Anders Eklund in Denmark. Steffen Tangstad, 14 stone 8. So we've got a 27 pounds difference there. But certainly Bugner looks a lot sharper, but I must say I've been taken by the confidence of this fellow from Norway, who actually does all his boxing at the moment in Chicago. And he's had 15 fights there and won them, and he's had 12 stoppages. Well, the Bugner corner have said, well, we're going to send our man out to throw some punches. He's coming up 34 next month, and really, if he wants to get back in any kind of European title status, he's got to do this in style. But Tangstad soaks up a punch fairly well, but he hasn't been in with anybody of this fellow's know-how. And any criticism that you can level at Bugner, he's always been a durable character. He's only been stopped twice, and this is his 70th fight in 17 years of pro fighting. Tangstad fought on the same bill when Bugner boxed Anders Eklund. A fight that some of us thought he might just be a bit lucky to win, but I have to say the entire Danish press and the local people here thought Bugner won that one. But a couple of newspaper men from Britain here both voted for Eklund, so there you go. And on that bill, Tangstad won a split decision over a tough Canadian, Ken Lakuska, who had been in with Trevor Berbick and a few of the top men. Bugner actually a couple of pounds lighter than when he fought Marvis Frazier in Atlantic City last June. So at least physically he's been trying to get it together. He often says, well, you can't expect me to look like a 21-year-old again. And then I counter by saying, well, there is a fellow at the top who's actually 4 months older than you by the name of Larry Holmes, and he manages to stay in shape. Well, already, Jim Watt, it's the old experience coming out in Bugner. He's sort of tantalising the lad a bit with the left hand, isn't he?
Yeah, well, Tangstad must be nervous. This is a big chance for him. So Joe's best campaign, I would think, is not to let him get settled, to try and stamp his authority in the fight quick. He started trying to do that. Tangstad started to come back at him. Now I'd like to see Joe keep pushing him back as long as he possibly can.
I don't think the Norwegian will be found wanting. He's a tough little character. He's been in a tough gymnasium in Chicago. A part-time teacher, and says he thinks he can make it in the fight game. And he's not jumbo size, but 14 stone 8 is hardly small. Well, the cleaner scoring there, obviously, Jim, from Bugner wins the round because Tangstad just didn't get near enough to him.
Yeah, well, Joe's jab was very good. He started off well, pushed Tangstad back the way and landed with some very crisp jabs. I was happy with Bugner's start. If he can keep pushing Tangstad back in the early rounds.
Have a look at this replay now. You see, that was where the crowd really rose to it when Tangstad came in. And then when Joe backed on the ropes, he kind of threw this looping left over, but Bugner, they're waiting for him to come in to jab away. Look, see, they're just trying to kid to each other there. And there it is, just too high on the side of the head. But he always absorbs a good punch, Bugner. So not bothering to sit down between rounds there. Ernie Fossey in the ring from London, and Victor Andretti, one-time champion, on the outside. For a change, not saying too much. And looking calm and collected, as you would expect. He's already had 459 rounds as a pro, Bugner. He really does know it. So what's this all about? Is there no gum shield in? They were waiting for a 10-second buzzer. The seconds or something. There was a mix-up in the corner there. The referee from Copenhagen, Knud Jensen, who's on the World Boxing Council officials list. Seated at ringside and wanted to go in the corner with Tangstad at one point is the former heavyweight champion Ingemar Johansson, the only Scandinavian to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And he's not looking too bad, a bit overweight, he says, but still running marathons. Difference in size, really, Jim, is going to make it a bit tough for Tangstad, isn't it?
Yeah, well, that's the reason I would like Joe to go forward and lean on Tangstad a bit, but I think Joe knows that better than I do. But he may as well use the advantages he has. He's a fair bit older than Tangstad, so he better use what he has, and that's his bulk.
The Danes quite like listening to Joe's chat. He's very good at that, of course, before a fight, and gets quite a lot of ink, as they say in America, in the local papers. And at the moment, not boxing in England at all, because he's actually got a court conviction pending, legal wrangles with his ex-wife. And also he will have to have another formality for him, I would think, of a medical with the Boxing Board of Control, because his current licence has run out in Britain. So there's a stroke there, holding and pulling him onto a punch.
Yeah, the old man bit coming out there. I think Joe could end up old manning him out of the fight here.
Well, the crowd didn't like it, and I shouldn't think that Tangstad did either. The old veterans, Jim, although you never actually got to the old veterans days, they try to pull through strokes in there, don't they?
Yeah.
More than Steve Davis, some of them.
Well, I will say that I'm happier with Joe's attitude than I was in his last fight. He's looking a fair bit sharper. I think losing the 15 pounds has certainly helped a lot. But his attitude seems good, and let's hope we can keep this going for a few rounds.
He's got plenty of heart, Tangstad. There's nothing to worry about there. And we'll be right back.
If you earn
So coming out for the third, and I think one of the reasons that Bugner hasn't been sitting down, this is a ridiculously small stool, Jim, and they've actually changed it in the Norwegians' corner and brought their own in.
Yes, I see the size of the stool now. It's ridiculous, as a matter of fact. I think it's made for 5-year-olds. Joe's doing the right thing, just standing up. He'll end up breaking a leg.
Before this match was made, in fact, Tangstad boxed a few rounds in Denmark in the gym with Bugner, and observers tell me that Bugner took control fairly early in each sparring session, but the smaller guy got on top towards the end. Well, you can imagine Bugner at this stage of his career a bit bored by the training anyway. He really hasn't scored a spectacular knockout since he turned over Richard Dunn in the comeback for the British Championship, and then, of course, Dino Dennis in his comeback. But Dennis hasn't fought since. The old bit early for wrestling technique. This, as you say, he's definitely going to use that bulk and push this fellow around a bit.
Yeah, well, you always have confidence in Joe's chin. You know he's not going to be knocked out, so I don't think Tangstad's using the right tactics here. He should be trying to really set a high work rate. He's a lot younger than Joe, and if he sets a pace, then he should last better than Joe. But Joe's doing the right thing. He's not letting him do that. He's not letting Tangstad dictate to him.
Many opponents, of course, have found Bugner a tantalising guy to fight, haven't they?
He knows all the tricks. He knows how to make you look bad, how to stop you working. This is what he's very good at.
Get an ooh and ah from the crowd with that left hand when it goes, and that's a pretty powerful shot, that. It's as accurate as I've seen Bugner for a long time with that one. Well, those cuffs around the ear are looking fairly painful, aren't they?
Yeah, but I would still say Bugner's punches are better than Tangstad's. They're far more accurate and they're landing a lot more often. But Tangstad's dangerous when he lets the big right hand go.
Well, there you see again, not bothering to sit down. I think he'd have trouble hauling himself up off that stool. It's about 6 inches square. It's fixed to this ring. And he has won in Copenhagen before. Remember, he had 8 European title fights. Have a look at some replay, Jim, in there. This is where the big right hand, there it is. It almost looked as though he's going to topple, but that's just a mannerism, I think. It's too high, the punch, isn't it?
Yeah, I think he was just pulling away from the punch, but that was really the only success that Tangstad had in that round. Joe's jab was very good in that round.
First retired, this fellow, in 1975 after being outpointed by Muhammad Ali in Kuala Lumpur for the world title. He started in the athletic business as a discus thrower, and he held the English schools championship for some years and often regrets that he didn't take up field athletics. Nice looking man, young Tangstad. He's got to get his head out of the way a bit more often if he wants to stay that way. So around 4. Referee risking life and limb diving between them. He turns his back on them there as he goes through. It's a bit risky too, Jim, isn't it?
Yeah, not half. Any time Tangstad gets close to Joe, Joe's stopping him from working and tiring him out, holding his arms and pushing against him. Joe likes him at long range, try to get him on the end of the jab.
Tangled up in the rope trick there, and they're tied together so that they won't part as one of the boxers falls through them. The thing with Bugner over the years, really, Jim, that's frustrated so many people is we all think, well, if only I had a body like that, what would I do? I'd go out and beat up a few people I don't like and probably win the World Championship, but that's easy to say.
Yeah, well, you need a lot of different things to be well, Joe was a top-class fighter, but you need a lot of things to be a world champion. And maybe there's just not enough devil in Joe, but he certainly knows his job. He certainly knows his way around the ring.
Well, it takes one cagey customer to recognise another one, Jim, what?
But even now, Joe's punches are still better than Tangstad.
Actually, when he takes that right hand, Bugner, it just gets that little bit of fire in the belly, comes back. Can't do him good, but it certainly turns him on a little bit. See, some people have said that he blows a lot, Bugner. He says it's merely a mannerism, the way he sucks in air like that, Jim, and I think he's right, actually, to be fair to him.
Yeah, that's possible. I think Joe has the experience to know when to take a rest. Every chance he gets to take a rest, he does that and draws in some oxygen. But I don't think he's tiring, that's for sure.
The Norwegian just putting a few punches together now. He did that well, didn't he? Did the sidestep and walked in.
Yeah, this is the most success he's had. He's been pinning Joe into the ropes now and letting some punches go.
And a much better round, and we'll be right back. So there you are, out for the fifth round then. And Tangstad had a bit of a go in the fourth. Remember, unbeaten record, 19 fights, won 17 and drawn 2. But of course it's a big jump from the club kind of fighters, as they call them in Chicago, to this one. American managed too, Stephen Tangstad. Personable young man, confident, and he'll need to be because he's certainly behind here. Oh, little, yes, he dropped the head in there, and Bugner gave him a little talk, and I think quite rightly. The last thing he wants to suffer there is a bang of heads and a cut eye, which could end it. And it could be just a little bit of needle now, eh?
Yeah, well, Tangstad's beginning to bore his way in now. He's running out of ideas how to get into Bugner. He's not an easy man to get into, and he's starting now to put his head down and bore in, and it could be a danger.
He's getting through a bit there. As you say, the punch rate's coming up a bit better.
Yeah, I expected Tangstad to be throwing more punches earlier in the fight. A pace should suit him better, but maybe he's trying to get them off, but Joe won't let him.
There's 3 judges. The referee's not scoring in this one. They're trying to conform a bit with WBC edicts now. And the Danes decided that the 3 locals would call it if it went 10 rounds, and the referee can just look after the fight. There it is when the referee walks between them now. I've never agreed with that. Because he's out of sight just for a split second, Jim. That could cause some controversy, couldn't it?
Yeah, that's a fact. Tangstad's actually doing a bit better here. He's getting through with more punches. But I'd still say Joe's jab is doing its job. But Tangstad's beginning to come more into the fight as the fight goes on.
So Frank Warren there joined the corner. The promoter, of course, also manages Bugner. And just gargling away with the bottle. And Ingemar Johansson gone up into Tangstad's corner, but they can have a look at replay now. Oh, that's the headbutt coming in there. And certainly Bugner felt that, and we did outside the ring. So on the left there, in the blue sweater, just leaving the ringside, that's Ingo, the famous bingo man. They all seem very calm and collected, like dismissing some office cares over there in the Bugner corner. So round 6. Well, there was all kinds of disagreements in judgments with the Eklund and Bugner fight that we had on World of Sport, including my own. How are you reading this so far, Jim?
Well, I think in the early stages of the fight, Joe's punches were far cleaner. Tangstad didn't really land any clean punches at all until about the 4th round. So I've got Joe in front now. But Tangstad's beginning to get through, and that was a good right hand to get through with here. And the longer the fight goes, the better Tangstad's doing.
.6'4" Bugner and about 6'2" Tangstad. They're treating the older heavyweights big these days. Well, there's a little bit of elbowing coming in there, giving him the elbow, I think that expression is. Now, if Johansson went up in the corner with a Norwegian there, what sort of thing would he be saying, do you think, Jim?
Well, Bugner's such a difficult man to box against, but I would definitely tell Tangstad to start throwing punches and keep going forward and keep throwing punches, set a pace. As you see, as soon as they go inside, Joe doesn't let any work take place inside at all. Joe just wants to limit his work and be economic in his own work and keep the pace slowed down, which suits him fine. Well, Tangstad should be told to raise the pace and put Joe to the limit, but having said that, it's not a cert Joe would let him do that.
The old push and shove treatment coming up. There it is, you see. Tried to get away with that, but the referee dived in. Oh, it looks like boxing's big daddy at work there. I think he'll have a sore left ear tonight, Bugner, one way or another. He's taken a few clips there. As you say, Jimmy, it's difficult for him to extend himself the whole time. He's only had 10 fights in the last 7 years.
Yeah, well, he likes to limit his work, keep the pace as slow as possible. And for a great part of the fight, Tangstad's allowing him to do that.
And we'll be back. Eighth round coming up, and it's no, 7th round coming up. Seems a bit longer than that at ringside. You could win a few bets Jim, when you talk about how many times actually Bugner has been down, as I said before, he's only been stopped twice, and he's really only taken 5 counts in his whole career. One of those was with Joe Frazier, which I thought was his best fight, the American Larry Middleton, Jack Bodell, who was the last European to defeat him, and that was way back in '71. Ernie Shavers, just over a year ago, and his first pro fight, which I also saw, Paul Brown. But then he twice defeated Paul Brown after that. Well, the Norwegian now roughing Joe up a bit, eh?
Yeah, I think maybe that's what Johansson's been saying to him in between rounds. You'll have to lift the pace a bit because you're going to let Bugner steal this from you. So I think, you know, he's trying to set a pace now, and Joe's tying him up any time they get close.
I wish Joe would pull out of those clinches. I mean, he's superior at the long-range boxing, but it's all sneaking rest all the time, isn't it? Is that what they do, boxers, Jim?
Yeah, I think it's just a case of, you know how many rounds there are to go, and you know how you feel. So you just start trying to be a little bit economic and save the steam. But Joe's jab again is good. He's starting to get his weight behind the jab again.
Oh, that was a good shot there. That's one of the few times he's used that short right-hand punch. He didn't get quite enough leverage. It was kind of an arm punch. If he gets any success with that, Jim, the right hand, I would think he would try drawing Tangstad onto it a bit, trying to kid to him.
Yeah, well, this is looking like a distance fight to me now, because none of them have been troubled by the other's punches. And well, Joe doesn't score too many clean knockouts. But I'd like to see him just keep it at a range and keep that left hand into Tangstad's face.
So the last time he took chances and threw that big overhand right, he knocked out Dino Dennis at Alexander Palace. It's quite a spectacular knockout. So really, what would see the last remnants of his career, really. He should be taking chances. So Tangstad there taking as much rest as he can. And the guys working over there, and I see only Fossey has got a staunch pad out there, a swab stick, but I can't see any blood around Joe's face. There's a little bit of blood there.
I think maybe it's just the nosebleed after the clash of heads earlier on. I don't think there's any cuts around Joe's eyes.
So see this replay then, and I think you'll see the right hand. There it is coming in, see, but he just caught him short, Jim.
Yeah, just an arm punch. There wasn't really any shoulder behind that.
So there's Ingemar, and I might just collar him to get an opinion if I can grab him. There's enough of him as he gets out of the ring. I also saw this fella before he'd fought for the World Championship, and he's living in Florida, but he's come specially to give words of wisdom for Tangstad. So round 8. Quick word. Give him this. Collared the man in round 8. Then I've collared the man himself. Ingemar Johansson, sorry to drag you away from Tangstad's corner. What sort of thing are you telling him at the moment?
I'm telling him to not wait. He's waiting. He's waiting too much. He should be one. Don't wait for a big strong man. That's the worst you can do.
But you had the big right hand to do it. He keeps going, Joe Bugner, for his age, doesn't he, Ingemar? He keeps going pretty well, Bugner, for his age, coming up 34.
He's not doing bad at all. That's what I mean. I'm telling Tangstad to keep on him, not stay there and wait, because Bugner has a very good left hand, you know. And that's the bad thing for Tangstad if he doesn't keep on coming all the time.
Thank you, Ingemar. So all the world champions are getting into the act The program then, Jim Watt and Ingemar Johansson. Well, is he responding, the Norwegian, now a bit to the chat from the Swede in a ring in Denmark? Doubled up the jab well there, the postman's lock punch. And that's got to keep Bugner in front, that kind of hitting, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's the only convincing punch that's been in the fight, and it's the only consistent punch. Joe's left jab's been very good tonight. And Ingemar Johansson echoed my own thoughts that Tangstad is waiting too long. He's not throwing enough punches, he's allowing Joe to dictate the pace of the fight, and this is suiting Joe fine.
I'm delighted you agreed with Ingemar, actually, Jim, because I wouldn't have fancied separating you two had you disagreed. Tangstad's definitely got to give it all he's got. He can't stand there and admire the scenery. The Norwegians are sort that would beat more than could beat him, but one wonders now whether he just took this fight perhaps a bit too early in his career. There's a bit of a jump from the preliminary class to this one. I can't remember Bugner standing between rounds, but I suppose somebody would say, well, he hasn't done all that much work to get that too tired around the legs. Tony Fossey has a nice cockney way of getting this fellow at it. He insults him sometimes in the corner, and sometimes it works, and he gets more frustrated sometimes than the viewer or the boxing fan, all of whom I said really says, come on, Joe, we know you can do it, but sometimes you let us down. And yet on his good nights, when he defeated Richard Dunn, they rose to him in London. They really did. And when he fought Joe Frazier, that's definitely was his best fight at Earl's Court. He hasn't got too many bruises of battle then, has he, of 17 years in the business. That's Knut Johnson. Round 9. 6 minutes action is scheduled. Is there any chance of some kind of punch being pulled out of the bag? Bugner wants to get back on the European scene with David Pearce as the British champion, who's now challenging Lucien Rodriguez of France, and that takes place in France next month. And remember, the old boys had 8 European Championship fights, which in fact is a heavyweight record. And if he got through this one, the managerial side of it could easily steer him into a fight with David Pearce, although I think the one that most people would like to see would be Noel Corliss.
This is the wrong thing. I don't know, being the 9th round, if Joe's decided maybe to take a breather and hope for a big last round. Maybe he feels he's ahead in points, but this is not the thing to do. He's letting Tangstad get a bit of hope here and a bit of encouragement. It's the wrong thing to do. I'd like to see Joe get back behind his jab again and go about his work as though he meant it. Well, I think he is blowing a bit now. There hasn't been too much spring in the legs really all afternoon, but he is feeling a little bit of pace. The thing I haven't liked about the fight, Joe's had too many warnings from the referee, and I never have too much confidence in European officials who can be led by a referee. He could actually have lost a couple of rounds because of the referee on his top.
Shot that right hand down again. If he stood back just at half a yard, he really would do some damage with that.
Yeah, but more leverage in it. Joe's still messing him about inside. This is fine. If Joe just finishes the round and then comes out for a strong last round.
quite a good round, really, for the Norwegian. And as you say, Jim, further warnings. This is a little bit of bad news. And he's giving Jensen a bit of back chat as well. Saying he's ducking low and I'm only just pushing him. He's been a bit severe, really, isn't he, the referee?
Yeah, and I don't like it to happen too often, as I say. I've not got a great deal of confidence in the officials, but I prefer if Joe would stand off and get his jab working.
Well, there was definitely a bit more desperation in the work from Tangstad there. And you're wondering what the corner boys now are giving the rundown for Bugner for the last round. So replay now. We'll probably see that right-hand chop coming in here, Jim. Well, that's on the side of the head as well. That won't do too much damage. And it's Tangstad's not the easiest of fellows to catch, the way he ducks and dives.
He's boring in with his head still, which is making it difficult for Bugner, but Joe doesn't allow any work to take place inside at all. He's quite happy to keep him at long range when he can and get his jab working, but I hope he comes out for a big last round.
So the formal handshake then, or the touch of gloves anyway, for the 10th round. Well, come on, Joe, now. Have a go, because this fellow's pressing a bit. As I say, youth get served in this business. Had a lot of catching up to do, Tangstad, Jim, but I'm just wondering now how close he's come to it.
Well, I think Bugner's work has always been better than Tangstad's when he's had his jab working. Any success Tangstad's had has been untidy, cuffing around the ears and the shoulders. But he's still in there trying anyway.
But the early rounds were won by Bugner quite clearly, so he should still keep at least his head in front.
Well, I've got Joe in front. I'm worried about the warnings he's received, but apart from that, I've always reckoned his work's been better than Tangstad's.
He just can't keep up any momentum for any great period now. And you get to the kind of sliding stage in the career, Jimmy, you can't put the punches together so quickly. You need to rest so much.
Yeah, sometimes by the time the head knows what to do, the body's too tired to do it. It's an unfortunate situation to be in.
And the trouble for Bugner, if he happens to lose this decision, there's just nowhere for him to go.
No, well, I'm trying to be optimistic. I would really expect him to get the verdict okay today. Although stranger things have happened.
So the soccer-style chant for Tangstad, Tangstad. The arena, incidentally, just alongside where England was virtually put out of the World Cup when they played Denmark in the drawn match. So there he is, he's saying, look, this fellow's ducking and diving, I'm only pushing him down. I don't think you can blame Bugner too much for that. The crowd on his back, the referee certainly is.
He would do himself a favour if he would step back when Tangstad dives down. He's making the best of it and leaning over the top of him, making it look worse.
So now let's see him totting up these judges' mathematics. And the usual, both of them think they've won, as I thought. What if it could be a draw?
It's just a bit of show business now, Reggie, but I would give it to Bugner. simply because his
so
good
would I.
work was far better than Tangstad's good work.
Yeah, so would I. So let's if he doesn't get the decision, it's got to be a last fling. But we said this before, and Anders Eklund was beaten. And here's the replay now when Tangstad was putting it together a bit more, and Joe trying to smother his way through there and prevent him from punching inside. So there it is. They haven't taken long then to get the points. The referee is just saying, yes, they've been correctly signed, and here comes the decision. That's a split decision, Jim, and it surprised us, and I think it's disappointed, perhaps disgusted Joe Bugner. And on that disappointing note for him, then, I'll hand you back to Dickie Davis.
Well, the disappointment there for Joe Bugner. I must say there was a 9-year difference between the two fighters, and I must say it showed at the end. So, the Norwegian winning that, his unbeaten record intact. The halftime sequence coming up in just a few moments. I want to stay with boxing.